Madam President,
Senator from Texas.
as if in legislative session, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of S. 4845, which is at the desk. Further, that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
Madam President.
Senator from Connecticut.
Madam President, I object.
Objection is heard.
Madam President, what we just saw on this floor was stunning. I am genuinely at a loss for words. This bill is common sense. There is not a constituent in Texas or Nevada or Connecticut who, if you asked, would it be a good thing to have more police officers keeping our kids safe, wouldn't say, of course it would. There's not a constituent of ours who, if you asked, would it be a good thing to have more mental health counselors on campus to stop people from committing crimes, would say, of course it would. I was informed a few days ago that when I was going to seek unanimous consent, the senator from Connecticut was going to object. Now, the senator from Connecticut styles himself the leading advocate of gun control in the U.S. Senate. I was asked by reporters, why are the Democrats objecting to this? And I'll tell you what I told reporters. I have no idea. They haven't said. They haven't told me why they object to it. And so I was genuinely looking forward to seeing the senator from Connecticut's remarks. I was sitting here waiting to see, why do you oppose more police officers to keep our kids safe? Why do you oppose mental health counselors in schools? I've been in the Senate 10 years. The senator from Connecticut and I were elected at the same time. I've engaged in many debates on this floor, including with the senator from Connecticut. The fact that he chose not to say a word about why he objects is stunning. I find myself genuinely flabbergasted. I will say one of the reasons I think the senator from Connecticut feels content not only not to argue, but now to walk off the floor and not even listen to the debate he's ostensibly participating in. One of the reasons he feels free to do so is if you look up at the Senate gallery, I can count them, there are precisely 0 reporters in this gallery. Not a single one of the corporate media will report on this, and I think the senator from Connecticut feels absolutely certain. When he walks out, he will have reporters that will say, tell me how terrible Donald Trump is. And he'll lean in and say, oh, Donald Trump is really terrible. But not a one of the reporters will ask, hey, wait a second, why don't you want police officers keeping our kids safe? None of them will. The Democrats are protected by a dishonest army of propagandists in the corporate media. CNN will not have a panel sitting around discussing why is it that the Democrats simply do not care to defend their positions. Let me tell you, when there's a mass murdering and the Democrats stand up and give speeches and they point at Republicans and say, blood is on your hands, it's great political rhetoric. It's dishonest. But boy, it gins up their donors. It gets people to go and write checks to Democrats and fund their campaigns. What we just saw reveals that Democrats have one objective when a mass murder happens, and that is to take away the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. That is always, always, always their solution. Never mind that it doesn't work. Never mind that it doesn't stop violent crime. Never mind that if you look at the jurisdictions across the country with the strictest gun control laws, almost every single one of them consistently has among the highest crime rates and murder rates. Earlier this year, the senator from Connecticut authored his big gun control package, rammed it through this body. A package which will do nothing, zero, to stop mass murders. We will see another mass murder. I pray that we don't, but evil exists in the world, and if another lunatic attacks a school, and there's not a police officer at the front door to stop him, remember right now. Remember this moment when the Democrats said, no, we will not protect our kids. There are lots of arguments the senator from Connecticut could have made. He chose to make none of them. If he does not like how the money in this bill is specifically spent, I'm now going to propound a second unanimous consent bill. There are right now $135 billion in unspent COVID relief funds to schools. Under the rules the Democrats have put in place, those funds cannot be spent on school security. The second bill that I'm going to ask this body to pass is a bill that is very simple. It's one page. It says schools can spend some of that $135 billion on school security. They can decide what to spend it on. But if they decide they want to hire an additional police officer, they can spend the money on that. If they decide they want to enhance the physical security of their campus to make their students safer, they can spend it on that. They can invest in school security. Right now, the Democrats have blocked them from doing this. These are funds Congress has already appropriated that haven't been spent. And this bill is unbelievably simple. It says the schools can choose to invest in school security. Therefore, Madam President, as if in legislative session, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions be discharged from further consideration of S. 4586, and that the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. Further, that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
Reserving the right to object.
Senator from Connecticut.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator is right. I'm not going to engage in a colloquy on the merits of this request or the previous request. This isn't real. This is a TV show. This is clickbait. This is theater. This isn't an actual attempt to pass legislation. Senator Lankford approached me about this particular bill on the floor a week ago and asked to engage in a dialogue with me about it. I thought it was a legitimate request, and I set my team to task of trying to work something out with Senator Lankford, and now there's a unanimous consent request to pass a bill that's under negotiation and discussion between serious legislators who actually want to find a result. So, no, I'm not going to debate the merits of these UCs. This isn't real. I object.
Madam President.
Objection is heard. Senator from Texas.
Madam President, the senator from Connecticut just gave us the sum total of his wisdom as he walks off the floor again, which is he says this isn't real. The presiding officer is well aware of how the Senate operates. When a senator arises for a unanimous consent request, one of two things happens. A senator objects, or the bill passes. I've stood on this floor and passed unanimous consent requests because our colleagues chose not to object. One of the more notable instances was following multiple instances in the House of House Democrats making anti-Semitic comments. The House tried to pass a resolution condemning anti-Semitism. And sadly, the radical left in the Democratic caucus objected, and the House Democrats couldn't pass a resolution condemning anti-Semitism. I joined with our colleague, Senator Kaine from Virginia, a Democrat, We authored a resolution, the Cruz resolution, a bipartisan resolution that was a clear and unequivocal condemnation of anti-Semitism. It condemned BDS as anti-Semitism. It condemned explicitly the anti-Semitic comments made by those House Democrats at the outset of the dispute. When Senator Kaine and I came to the Senate floor, we did not know if a senator would object. There were numerous senators in this body that had not joined the resolution and could easily have walked out on the floor and objected. And we stood up and asked unanimous consent, and much to our very pleasant surprise, the opposing party chose not to object. And the resolution passed. It passed 100-0. When the senator from Connecticut says this isn't real, the only reason this bill has not passed the United States Senate is because the senator from Connecticut stood up and uttered two magic words: I object. Had he done something really simple, just shut up, just shut his mouth, just sat there, we would be standing in a position where both of these bills would have passed into law. What does it say, Madam President, about the Democrats' view of the American people? That they don't engage in debate, they don't engage in discussion, they don't defend their positions. They instead arrogantly say no and have full confidence their compliant cheerleaders in the media will never even tell anyone about it. I don't know how you defend the position he just took. I was genuinely looking forward to hearing some form of an argument. I can tell you when I forced a vote on the Cruz-Barrasso bill on this floor and the Democrats voted party line. No, we don't want more police officers in school. No, we don't want more mental health counselors in school. No, we don't want additional funding for school safety. To the best of my knowledge, no reporter asked a single Democrat, why are you leaving our kids vulnerable? Why aren't you acting to protect children in school? Because you know what? There's no money on the left for actually stopping these crimes. The money is for disarming law-abiding citizens. It is a narrow-minded political focus. We could have just passed the most significant school safety legislation ever passed by the federal government. Why didn't we? Because the Democrats objected. That objection is wrong. It's irresponsible. And it shows a willingness to play political games while demonstrating contempt for our constituents. Today, the United States Senate failed the American people. Today, the United States Senate failed the school children of America. And I pray that the consequences are not truly horrific. I pray that this body will show up and do its damn job. Debate real issues and pass real legislation that will actually stop crime rather than the empty political gestures of the left. I yield the floor.